Cancel culture is poison, folks. We've got the thought police nowadays, right? Telling everybody what they can and can't say. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And to see all of these attention-starved idiots trying to dig things up from people's past, things that they said, to use it against them, to deplatform them, or to try to ruin their reputation or their career is absolutely disgusting beyond words. And of course there's exceptions to the rule, right? Certain things people say can be obviously worse than others, right? So, with that being said though, nowadays everybody, not everybody, but many people, often left-leaning, are remarkably triggered at everything. They want to think that everything's racist, right? They want to think that everything is, for the most part, out to do harm to someone else or to belittle someone. It's fucking bullshit, folks. It's fucking bullshit. All this cancel culture, all this shit going on. Really? And I'm watching in live time how it's affecting social media, because it's affecting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of creators. These people sitting around trying to find excuses to ruin someone's reputation. Why? Because they said a bad word? Because they said something that you find offensive? Really? Are you that thin-skinned? It blows my mind. It blows my mind. And oftentimes what ends up happening, folks, is that these crazy people who want to like deplatform people or ruin people's careers or their reputation based on things that these people like again, imagine if I said something 10 years ago, let's just put it this way, and someone dug it up and then used it against me. Oftentimes the way that they try to use it against me, it's out of context. They're taking what I said out of context. You know, it's funny. Oftentimes when people are canceled, it's because of something they said on a podcast or in a video or on a phone call or whatnot. And it's funny, the people who use it as leverage to try to deplatform people, they take little isolated clips out of it and then misrepresent the person and act like, oh, this person meant this by saying this. They don't give you the whole breakdown, or you don't get to hear the whole conversation. You don't get to see the whole video clip. You don't get to really understand the whole context, right? So cancel culture is absolute poison. And it's going to get to the point where these thought police will continue to hold people to a higher and higher standard, to the point where no one can live up to their mightiness, right? Or their grand, like, it's just bullshit. You catch my drift. Excuse me. So we are going headfirst into a dystopia, the likes of which most people have no ability to even fathom in their brainwashed state. And cancel culture absolutely is a part of this. I mean, you watch movies that have been made in the last year or two, and you can even see the political correctness in the script, the way things were written. Like, everything is just trying to like appease this politically correct hive mind Borg entity, right? It's very disturbing. It's very disturbing. You know, comedy, stand-up comedy at least, used to be based on the idea that we can all be in the same room and make fun of each other, yet laugh about it and still be totally unified. But nowadays, no one can take a joke, right? No one can take a fucking joke because everybody's looking, not everybody, again, excuse me, but people are just looking for an excuse to feel victimized, to feel like someone's doing them wrong. And don't get me wrong, like I said earlier, there's always an exception to the rule. There are certain things that people have done and have said in the past that aren't horrible. I don't think that they should necessarily, not all of them, be used to deplatform people. Deplatforming is absolutely disgusting. But most of the shit people are getting canceled for, not all, but a lot, it's like ridiculously petty nonsense, right? It's disgusting. It's also sad, too, to see so many people falling for this shit. This political correctness. This politically correct trend. And this is a trend. And like all trends, they eventually fade away, right? So to all of you thought police, word enforcers, and idiots out there who want to act like you're the ambassador or the arbiter of free speech, when this trend runs out, you're not going to have anything left. You're not going to have anything left. Just a mountain of shit. A mountain of shit. Political correctness, for one, is fucking poison. Political correctness is poison. What did George Carlin say? Didn't George Carlin say something to the effect of political correctness is fascism in disguise? It was something like that. Stop trying to police people's freedom of speech. It's disgusting. If you don't agree with something someone said, don't watch it. Don't watch it. And here's the real end all be all, if you will, folks. I would say 99.999%, if not 100% of the thought police people out here that want to deplatform people for saying certain things have said equally horrible things, probably even worse behind closed doors or amongst friends. Don't be a hypocrite. For you to not even meet your own judgmental criteria, if you will, while policing other people in their words and what they say or what they believe, you're a fucking idiot and you're a damned fool. And you're playing into the destruction of culture because they are trying, the thought police and the vampires in charge, because let me tell you folks, all this political correctness and cancel culture is part of an overarching agenda to collapse culture and recreate this nanny state bullshit where you can't say anything without, someone being offended, or you might have your platform taken from you, or you might have your reputation destroyed if you say one wrong thing. Do you really want to live in a world like this? Do you think this is normal? Because I don't. And I've really been able to sit back and watch the cancel culture in live time because I'm a creator. I'm on YouTube. I've seen how things have changed, not only on YouTube, but across all platforms. It's very disheartening. People shouldn't have to get in front of a camera and have to worry about if there's someone just waiting to just to be offended about it. Again, if you don't like what someone's saying, you don't have to watch it. You don't. It's called freedom of speech for a reason. It's called freedom of speech for a reason, folks. Do you want to live in a world without freedom of speech? Because that's what political correctness and that's what cancel culture largely is. It's the destruction of freedom of speech veiled under goodness, right? It's all about goodness and equality and trying to make everybody feel warm in this warm blanket, right? No. It's a Trojan horse weapon system. Stop being so thin-skinned. Stop being so weak. Stop being so triggered. Stop being such a baby. You're a grown-up. Enough's enough. Stop trying to ruin people's reputations for things that they said or did in the past. Now, again, obviously there's an exception to the rule, but like I said earlier, 99% of the time when someone's canceled, it's a good person, and the thing that they're canceling the person with, these thought police, the thing that they said, it's taken out of context. You cannot take something out of context and act like it's, you know what I mean? That's like tampering with evidence. Tampering with evidence. This is just some disgusting fucking bullshit, human weakness on a mass level being accepted across the United States and across the world. It's like, my God. And to see the men, especially going along with all this, it is so disgusting to see what men have been turned into. Men nowadays are afraid, not all, but many, they're afraid to stick up for what's right. They're afraid to say no to their political overlord or their spouse or this, that, and the other. Jesus Christ, what is happening here, folks? You better get the minerals into your system immediately. You better start getting the water that you drink filtered or distilled. You better get the ingredients out of your body that are destroying your mind. And they're absolutely coming after men. They're coming after the women as well, but ladies and gentlemen, they're turning the men into these weak little twigs. Afraid to say or stick up for what's right and afraid to say no to what's wrong. It's fucking nuts. What the fuck? I mean, this is like a fucking nightmare hallucination on steroids, folks. This world is being turned into a fucking literal fun house. You know the fun houses that they used to have where you walk in and there's like the bearded lady and the clown and a snake with 10 heads and all that crazy shit, like a total fucking freak show. That's the word I'm looking for, not a fucking fun house, a fucking freak show. And that's being turned into reality, the norm, right? Where you can have like 20 genders, or you can like just fantasy glorified as if it's the truth. It's madness. It's fucking nuts, you guys. And the problem is that it's all being disguised under political correctness, a shade cloth or a blanket. But it serves an overarching agenda to collapse culture and recreate the world, to foster this widespread weakness where everybody's afraid of what to say, everybody's offended, all this make-believe shit, people believing in fantasy. Again, I'm going to wrap this one up. Cancel culture is bullshit, folks. Wake up.